I found something really fishy with DeepSeek. The US government has legitimized AI filmmaking, and we have the biggest AI filmmaking contest that we've seen up to this point. This is your AI film news of the week. So the big story that I want to lead with here is the fact that the US Copyright Office has essentially laid down a framework for interpreting AI filmmaking. This last week, they came out and stated that any AI filmmaking project where the author creatively selects and arranges the AI-generated elements, it is actually eligible for copyright, which is a big deal because so many people have been worried about AI filmmaking projects and can you actually get a copyright on the project? Well, it seems like if you go through any normal filmmaking process and you compile your shots together, the answer is yes. The reason why this is an important distinction is the fact that there are increasingly AI tools that can generate entertainment. So an AI system could hypothetically, in the very near future, put together a film that you could watch. If it put together that film, it would not be copywritten. But if a person was involved with arranging and composing the story using AI-generated elements, that could actually be copywritten. The Copyright Office came out and said that if you just pick an AI generation alone, that is not actually enough to get a copyright. So if an AI system created 40 images and you pick one of those images and want to host it on a website or even print it out, that doesn't count as sufficiently changing the asset to grant you the copyright. So of course you need to go in and edit and manipulate the end result. In AI character news, the team at Heygen has come out with motion control this last week that allows you to basically type in a prompt and create new motions for a character. So this is different than other AI systems where you type in a prompt and basically just get a video end result. This system is actually going in and rigging the characters with up to 200 different joints. Now, the reason why this is important, especially as we think about Heygen, is the fact that this system will be used for live character interactions. Right now in Heygen, you have to type in a prompt, wait, and then you will get your character with the motion and whatever background you're looking for. But in the future, it says they're really hoping that this will become real time, to where as you communicate with an avatar, their motions can change based on the interaction that's happening. And that's going to be really interesting for the future of conversations. To use this new feature, all you have to do is log into your Heygen account. And this update won't work on old avatars. It only works with new avatars. So that's just one thing you need to note. So go ahead and click on Generate an Avatar. And from here, we can type in our avatar name and then describe the avatar that we're looking for. And we have 4 different generations here. I have no idea what's happening in that bottom right one. It's so weird. But let's go with this one in the top left. It seems pretty normal. And we can go down here to save. So now it's time to animate our avatar. So we'll just go to the 3 little dots there in the top right and click Add Motion. Go to Expressive, and we'll say she walks through an urban city, looking surprised and holding her hands to her face. And go ahead and click Add Motion. And here is our final result. So we see our character walking around the city. She holds her face. And those are some pretty dynamic movements. Like the walk cycle looks pretty good. And of course, she seems just overly shocked in her face. So obviously the end result that you get from Heygen at this moment isn't going to be silver screen ready using this specific feature, but very soon we'll be able to conversate with AI agents and the expression and the movement is going to be very realistic. In an office hours this last week, the team at Midjourney said they're coming out with version 7 in February, which is awesome because Midjourney, it's felt like it's kind of been a little quiet recently. So it'll be really exciting to see a new update and then how their image model compares to other tools like Flux and Frames that have popped up in the last few weeks. The new 7 model coming out is going to be in partnership with 2 video models, which is pretty interesting. So I imagine an API with tools like Luma, Kling, maybe Pika is on the horizon. There will also be 3D features to where you can move an object around and place it where you want it to be, which is going to be really nice. There's going to be the ability to process images faster, which is kind of awesome because Midjourney already is pretty darn fast. And they're also allowing for larger batch processing, which is really nice because, as you know, when you're working on a project, generating more images is a great way to just pick and choose the right generation for the project that you're working on. So more images typically means a better end result. And they're also coming out with a feature to allow for better camera movement. Now, I don't know if that specifically means camera movement and direction for just images, or if that's going to be available in the video tool. Either way, we're super excited. Midjourney also brought a really cool feature from the Discord version of Midjourney to the online website. So now you basically have the ability to have Midjourney describe images that have been created in the platform. The reason why this is important is because sometimes you will prompt an image inside of Midjourney and get a really cool result, but then no matter how many times you use the same prompt, you don't get the same result again and again. But if Midjourney describes the image that you like, it can give you some of the language that it's using to actually interpret how to make that image. To use this feature, just go to the Create tab and find an image, right-click, and just go to Describe Image. So it takes just a few seconds to analyze the image, and then after that, you have a bunch of prompts that you can use to prompt your images again and again. And speaking of prompting, I just want to let you know we have a free prompting guide for Midjourney that you can find over on our website. There's a link below this video. Enrollment for our February session is open until February 7th. This is already shaping up to be an incredible session. And if you want to learn the latest techniques in AI filmmaking, advertising, animation, or documentary, be sure to check out the courses over on our site. And as a bonus, we're actually hosting a completely free ComfyUI training series that is open to anyone. Basically, it's happening every Thursday at 11 a.m. Pacific time. You'll find a link below this video to learn more information about that course. It's super great, and we just get into some really awesome and nerdy conversations about using ComfyUI to customize and take your productions to the next level. Pika 2.1 is now available to everyone. This is the model that includes tools like the Pika effects and the ingredients where you can actually add multiple objects together. And this model also can go up to 1080p in resolution. And this is great because more resolution typically means better quality. To use Pika, just go to their website and you can go ahead and click on that Try Now button that's on the homepage. And we'll just type in a prompt here. We'll say a cinematic live action shot of an epic motorcycle chase on the freeway and go ahead and click generate. And we have this shot here as the final result, which looks pretty good. There really is some dynamic movement, especially with the white stripes coming by, but the physics on the motorcycle doesn't look quite right. And the motorcycle over here, his light is pointing in the wrong direction. So I think this is right before a really bad motorcycle accident. They also have scene ingredients, which we talked about last week. All you have to do is bring in your images. So I have two images here, one of a golden horse and one of this just kind of interesting exotic landscape. And let's go ahead and prompt in a gold horse walks through a dusty old town. And go ahead and click generate. And here's our first shot here. And yeah, looks pretty good. Obviously, the background kind of comes across as a bit cartoonish. It's like the Spider-Verse as opposed to photorealistic, but it does look pretty good. And we have this second one here. And, you know, it's really not bad. The physics on the horse, you know, that's kind of some advanced quadruped movement there. You know, typically that's some pretty challenging rigging that you would have to do there. So it did a pretty good job. Now, it's not perfect, and I would say that tools like Kling, Minimax, Google Veo, and Sora probably would give you better results. But generally speaking, it's not that bad. And I tried the same thing with me holding an axe again, and this is the result that it generated. I have no idea what's going on. Like, that definitely does not look like me. And the axe, I guess, looks okay. But what's up with that hand? It's like a foot hand. It's really creeping me out. I have no idea what's happening, and then why it just like cuts to a close-up of this shoe here. I have no idea. The team at Luma Labs also came out with the ability to upscale your videos to 4K directly in their platform. This is really cool because we've had the same functionality inside Runway for a couple weeks now. It's great to see this feature expanding to more video tools. I also think it'd be helpful for us to talk about the elephant in the room, and I am, of course, talking about DeepSeek. So you probably saw this last week that a Chinese language model dropped that allegedly was created in 2 months for $6 million. and it tanked NVIDIA's stock by 17% in a single day, which is the equivalent of $600 billion. And it basically sent the stock market dropping very, very quickly. Now, if the research papers are to be believed, this model is supposed to be better than ChatGPT and Claude. It's clearly very, very reminiscent to other language models that are out there. And I think there's kind of multiple ways of interpreting this and trying to figure out what's going on. The first is that DeepSeek simply could have scraped all of the same data that all of these other language models used, and then it's using very similar algorithms to output the end result. But what I actually think is happening is DeepSeek used the outputs from Google Gemini, ChatGPT, and Claude to help basically speed up the training process for its language models. Basically, it used AI as a teacher to learn how to be a better AI faster. And again, this is just a guess, but that technological achievement is really incredible, and they did an amazing job with creating a language model in just a few months. But that definitely creates a huge limitation to the DeepSeek model. If it doesn't have the same foundational understanding that these other language models have, it does make me question the long-term viability of the current DeepSeek model. I think whether we're talking about AI video, audio, or language, the truth of the matter is China is catching up incredibly quickly. But I am curious to hear your own opinion. Do you think that there's something strange going on? Maybe DeepSeek got access to the code for some of these other language models? Or do you think it truly was trained by itself? Let us know in the comments. I'd be curious to hear your take. The team at Runway has announced their third annual Runway AIFF competition. This is their biggest competition. They have a grand prize of $15,000 and 1 million Runway credits, and the 10 finalists will be selected and showcased at galas in both New York City and Los Angeles. We went to the LA film event last year, and it was super fun. I definitely recommend checking it out if you're in the area. The films have to be between 1 and 10 minutes in length, and you, of course, have to use AI inside of the film. Submissions close on March 31st, and I should note that this is sponsored by the Tribeca Festival, IMAX, NVIDIA, and a ton of other really awesome sponsors. So I definitely recommend checking out the event. You'll find a link below this video. We also came across a few white papers that really knocked our socks off this last week. This first one is called MattAnyone, and it's really inside of the name. It's a tool that allows you to create really good video mats with just a few clicks. So we have this shot here from 1917, and you can see that using the AI system, it does a really good job at rotoscoping this guy from the background. We have this other shot here of these people dancing, and you can see it separates them from the background. And you can see it's doing a really good job because it's isolating multiple people at the same time and not just a single person. Sometimes the AI systems can get confused when multiple people are walking around or when they're changing the order or orientation of where they are inside of the frame, but this did an amazing job. We saw some research for a new AI video upreser called Diff VSR. Basically, it's a tool that upreses video to better quality, and the results look really interesting. It actually looks a little better than Topaz video. Well, the thing that makes this really unique is the fact that it's actually putting diffusion noise into the output. It's not just scaling up and removing some of the artifacting. It's literally adding in new information. But it's not adding too much information, so it really does look realistic. For example, we have this really grainy shot of this turtle, but when we run it through the system, you can see it's just much more high resolution, there's much more fidelity, and the end result looks really good. I can imagine that this tool is going to be a real competitor to Topaz, which is kind of the industry standard for upresing at this point. And then finally, there's a new competitor to Suno and Udio from China. It's called UE, and it basically is an open source song generator. So the code's in GitHub, you can mess around with it yourself. They have a few examples on the white paper page. Let me go ahead and click play on this metal one here. Step back is all in night. Won't quit without a fight. Those can't get up with the fierce fight. Put your hands up in light. So as you can see, that song goes really hard. They have a few other examples over on their website. Long story short, it's a very real competitor to Suno and Udio, which really echoes a lot of the conversation about DeepSeek earlier in this video. And that brings us to our AI films of the week. The first film I want to shout out is called Wings by Particle Panic. It's one of the more cinematic films that I've seen up to this point, and they actually created it using Luma Ray 2. The shots look really interesting. I think there's a lot of really cool particle dynamics that look like, VFX work that's done inside of Houdini and with like a compositing software like Nuke. So they did a really good job. The second project that I want to shout out is called Off the Shelf by Davide, Bianca. It's basically just a short comedy sketch that takes place inside of this like mystical library. But it just has a really fun tone and it's really silly and there's some really interesting movements with some of the larger characters. So great job on that project, Davide. And the final project is Fear of the Dark by Billy Boman. It's a 7-minute long suspenseful film, and the visuals really are breathtaking. It has some of the cooler shots that we've seen from an AI project in a while, so fantastic job on this project, Billy. Be sure to check out our AI film events board to see if there's a meetup or film event happening in your area. We actually have a meetup in Sao Paulo happening on February 4th, and then Shanghai on February 22nd, and we're probably going to do one in LA very soon. So we'll let you know when RSVPs officially open. Okay, that's all for now. Thank you so much for watching this episode of AI Film News. Of course, you can enroll for our February session by visiting Curious Refuge. And be sure to like and subscribe here on YouTube to get the latest news and tutorials directly here on the platform. Thank you so much for watching. We'll see you next time.